Prince walked up to James Brown at the 1985 Grammy after-party and said the words that made the entire room go silent. "They say you're the greatest dancer in music history. I think that title belongs to me now. I challenge you, right here, right now. Winner takes bragging rights forever." Brown was 51 years old. Prince was 26 and at the peak of his Purple Rain fame. Everyone in the room knew what was about to happen would become legendary. What they didn't know was that the 3-hour dance battle that followed would end in a way no one expected, with both legends learning something that changed how they saw themselves, each other, and the very meaning of greatness. It was February 1985, at the Beverly Hilton Hotel. The Grammys had just finished, and the real party was happening in a private ballroom rented by Quincy Jones. Everyone who mattered in music was there: Michael Jackson, Tina Turner, Stevie Wonder, Diana Ross. The room was electric with champagne, conversation, and the kind of energy that only happens when the most talented people in the world gather in one place. James Brown had just presented an award on the Grammys broadcast. He was 51, still performing, still commanding respect, but everyone knew his peak years were behind him. The young generation was taking over. Prince, Michael, Madonna, they were the new royalty. Brown was a legend, but legends belong to the past. Prince had dominated the night. Purple Rain had won multiple awards. He'd performed and brought the house down. At 26 years old, wearing a purple suit that probably cost more than most people's cars, Prince was untouchable. Young, talented, beautiful, weird, and absolutely convinced of his own genius. Brown was standing near the bar, talking to Quincy Jones about possibly working together on a project, when he felt the energy in the room shift. Conversation stopped mid-sentence. People turned toward the entrance. Prince had arrived. Prince moved through the crowd like royalty, accepting congratulations, hugging people, but his eyes were scanning the room, looking for something or someone. When his eyes landed on James Brown, he changed direction and walked straight toward him. Brown watched him approach. He'd met Prince once before, briefly, at a music industry event in 1983. Prince had been polite but distant. This felt different. This felt intentional. Prince stopped 3 feet away. The room was watching now. Everyone sensed something was about to happen. "Mr. Brown," Prince said. His voice was quiet but clear. Everyone nearby could hear. "Prince, congratulations on your night. Well deserved." "Thank you. I wanted to talk to you about something." "What's that?" "People call you the godfather of soul, the hardest working man in show business, the best performer who ever lived. I respect what you built, what you created, what you mean to music history. I appreciate that. But there's something people say about you that I don't think is true anymore." Brown felt the room tense. Whatever was coming, it was going to be confrontational. "What's that?" "They say you're the greatest dancer in music history, that no one can move like James Brown, that your footwork, your splits, your spins, that they're unmatched. That's what people say. I don't think it's true anymore. I think I'm better." The room went completely silent. You could hear ice melting in glasses. Brown looked at Prince, 26 years old, purple suit, 4-inch heels, talent dripping off him like sweat. Young enough to be arrogant, good enough that the arrogance might be justified. "You think you're a better dancer than me?" Brown said. Not a question, a statement. "I know I am, and I want to prove it. I challenge you to a dance battle, right here, right now, 3 hours, whatever music we want. Whoever's still standing at the end is the greatest dancer in music history." Someone in the crowd gasped. Michael Jackson, standing near the back, was grinning like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Quincy Jones looked like he wanted to stop this, but knew he couldn't. Brown studied Prince, saw the confidence, the hunger, the need to prove himself by destroying the legend. Brown had been that young man once, had challenged the old guard, demanded his place, refused to wait his turn. He understood what Prince was doing because he'd done it himself 30 years ago. 3 hours, Brown asked. 3 hours. If you can't handle that, we can make it shorter. 3 hours is fine, but let's make it interesting. How? Winner takes $50,000, cash. We each put up $25,000 right now. Winner takes it all. Prince smiled. You want to bet on this? $50,000 says you can't outdance a 51-year-old man. Deal. But I want witnesses. I want judges. I want everyone in this room to watch, so when I beat you, there's no question about who the greatest is. Fine by me. Quincy, you want to judge? Quincy Jones shook his head. I'm not getting in the middle of this. Then we'll let the room decide. Everyone here watches. At the end of 3 hours, whoever gets the loudest applause wins. Prince extended his hand. Brown shook it. The dance battle was on. The hotel staff cleared the center of the ballroom. Someone set up a sound system. Prince's people brought in his music. Brown's people called his hotel room and had someone bring recordings. Within 30 minutes, the entire ballroom was arranged like a performance space. 250 music industry professionals sat in chairs forming a circle around the dance floor. Ground rules, Brown said. We go back and forth, 5-minute rounds each. You pick your music, I pick mine. We dance until one of us stops or until 3 hours are up. No physical contact, just dancing. Best dancer wins. Agreed, Prince said. He was stretching, warming up his legs. Brown noticed he was wearing heels. Interesting choice for a dance battle. Who goes first? Prince asked. You challenged me. You go first. Prince smiled. Perfect. The music started. Purple Rain. The crowd erupted in applause before Prince even moved. He let the opening notes play, building anticipation. Then he exploded into movement. Prince danced like water and electricity had a child. Fluid and sharp at the same time. His footwork was intricate. Spins, slides, movements that shouldn't be possible in heels but somehow were. He moved across the floor like he was floating, then dropped into splits, then spun 3 times and landed perfectly. The crowd went insane. 5 minutes. He finished with a move where he spun and landed on one knee, arms spread, looking directly at Brown. The applause was deafening. Prince stood up, breathing slightly harder, but smiling. Your turn, old man. Brown walked to the center of the floor. Someone put on, Get Up, I Feel Like Being a Sex Machine. The groove hit, and Brown let it sink into his bones. Here's what Prince didn't understand. Brown wasn't trying to out-young him, wasn't trying to do fancy spins or complicated footwork. Brown danced from a different philosophy, economy of movement. Every step had meaning. Every gesture had purpose. Nothing wasted. Brown hit the groove and started with his signature move, the mashed potato. Simple footwork that looked easy, but required perfect timing. Then he shifted into the camel walk, moving across the floor in a way that defied physics. Then the splits, not as deep as Prince's, but faster, sharper, and up again in one fluid motion. The crowd was nodding. This was different from Prince's performance. Prince danced like he was trying to impress. Brown danced like the music was controlling his body, and he was just allowing it to happen. 5 minutes. When Brown finished, the applause was equally loud. They went back and forth, round after round. Prince chose songs that showed his versatility. When Doves Cry, Kiss, Let's Go Crazy. Each time, he brought something different. Technical perfection, incredible flexibility. Movements that looked choreographed but were clearly improvised. Brown chose funk classics, his own psalms, James Brown staples, songs where the groove was everything. He didn't try to match Prince's technical complexity. Instead, he showed mastery of rhythm, of being perfectly on beat, of making simple movements look profound because of timing and feel. After 90 minutes, both men were sweating. Prince had removed his jacket. Brown had loosened his collar. The crowd was mesmerized. This wasn't a competition anymore. This was a masterclass in two completely different approaches to dance. Prince went into his third hour choosing a slow song, The Beautiful Ones. He danced differently now, more emotional, less technical, showing vulnerability, showing that dance could be about feeling, not just skill. It was beautiful, heartbreaking. The crowd was silent, watching. When Prince finished, several people were crying. Brown chose It's a Man's World. The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Here were two men, both at different stages of life, both trying to prove something. Brown danced the pain of that song, the loneliness of being at the top, the weight of being a legend, the fear of being forgotten. His movements were slower than before, more deliberate, but somehow more powerful. When he finished, the room was completely quiet. 2 hours and 45 minutes in. Both men exhausted. Both had proven beyond doubt they were extraordinary dancers. But the question remained. One more round each, Prince said. He was breathing hard now. I saved my best for last. So did I, Brown said. Prince chose Sign of the Times. The music started, and he danced like a man possessed. Every trick, every move, every piece of technical brilliance he had. Spins, jumps, splits, movements that seemed impossible. The crowd was on their feet, screaming. It was overwhelming, exhausting, perfect. When Prince finished, he could barely stand. He bent over, hands on knees, gasping for air. The applause went on for 3 full minutes. Brown walked to the center of the floor. He was exhausted too. 51 years old. He'd just danced for nearly 3 hours against a man half his age who was arguably the most talented performer of his generation. Someone put on Please, 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 Brown's signature song, the song he'd performed 10,000 times, the song he could dance to in his sleep. But this time, Brown didn't dance to impress. He danced to show Prince and everyone watching what it meant to be James Brown. Not the young James Brown trying to prove himself, but the James Brown who'd lived, struggled, succeeded, failed, and survived. He danced with pain in his knees and wisdom in his movements. He danced like a man who knew this might be one of his last great performances. He danced with everything he'd learned in 35 years of being on stage. And somewhere in the middle of the song, something shifted. Brown wasn't competing with Prince anymore. He was honoring him, showing him what he'd become one day if he kept going, showing him the weight and beauty of legacy. When Brown finished, he walked directly to Prince and extended his hand. Prince took it. You won, Brown said quietly. What? You're better than me. Technically, physically, you're the better dancer. You won. Prince looked confused. Then why does it feel like I lost? Because you're trying to take something that can't be taken. Greatness isn't a title someone else holds that you have to steal. It's something you build yourself, and you already have it. You don't need to beat me to prove you're great. You proved that the first time you stepped on a stage. But the bet? Keep your money. I don't want it. This wasn't about money. This was about you needing to prove something to yourself. Did you prove it? Prince thought for a moment. I don't know. I beat you. But you're right. It doesn't feel like I thought it would. Because beating me doesn't make you me. It just makes you the guy who beat an old man. Is that the story you want? Prince, the guy who danced better than a 51-year-old James Brown? That's not. I wanted to prove I was the greatest. You are, in your way, just like I was in mine. But greatness isn't comparative. You don't become great by destroying someone else's greatness. You become great by creating your own. The room was watching them, waiting for the verdict, waiting to see who won. Brown turned to the crowd. Prince is the winner. Best dancer I've ever faced. Future of music right there. Give him the applause he's earned." The room erupted, but Prince looked unsatisfied. I don't want to win like this." "How do you want to win?" "I want you to respect me." "I do respect you. That's why I'm telling you the truth. You're phenomenal, possibly the most talented performer I've ever seen. But you're so busy trying to prove you're better than everyone else that you're missing the point. Music isn't about being better. It's about being unique, being yourself, and you're already that. You don't need my defeat to validate your greatness." Prince sat down on the floor, exhausted, processing. Brown sat next to him, two legends soaked in sweat, sitting on a hotel ballroom floor, surrounded by the biggest names in music. "I thought beating you would mean something," Prince said quietly. "It means you're 26 and could outlast a 51-year-old. Congratulations, but that's not the achievement you're looking for." "What achievement am I looking for?" "The one where you stop comparing yourself to everyone else and start being compared to yourself. Where people don't say, Prince is better than James Brown. They say Prince is Prince and James Brown is James Brown, and both are necessary." Prince nodded slowly. "I came here to destroy you." "I know. I did the same thing when I was your age, challenged everyone, tried to prove I was the best, and you know what I learned?" "What?" "Being the best is lonely. Being unique is eternal. I stopped trying to be better than everyone and started trying to be more myself. That's when I became James Brown, not a better version of someone else, just James Brown." Prince stood up, extended his hand to help Brown up. "Thank you." "For what?" "For not letting me win the wrong thing." Brown laughed. "You outdanced me. Everyone here saw it. But I'm giving you something more valuable than winning. I'm giving you permission to stop fighting battles you don't need to fight." They shook hands again, this time not as competitors, as two artists who understood each other. Quincy Jones approached. "So who won?" "We both did," Brown said. "That's not how competitions work," someone in the crowd yelled. "This wasn't a competition," Prince said. "This was a conversation, through dance." Brown smiled. "Exactly." The party continued. People talked about the dance battle for years. Some said Prince won technically. Some said Brown won spiritually. Most said it was the greatest display of dancing they'd ever witnessed. But the real story was quieter. It was about a young artist learning that greatness isn't something you take from someone else. It's something you create yourself. And about an older artist learning that passing the torch doesn't mean your light goes out. If this story about the difference between defeating someone and honoring them, about greatness being unique rather than comparative, and about wisdom being more valuable than victory moved you, share it with someone who needs to understand that you don't have to diminish someone else to shine. Subscribe for more stories about moments when competition turned into mutual respect. And remember, the real battle isn't against other people. It's against the version of yourself that thinks you need to destroy others to matter.